Welcome to Dave's live stream. My name is Chris and I am the Algo Man here on TikTok. Thanks so much for your patience. In today's recap of the NASDAQ 100 futures, we're doing something a little different. We're actually not going to feature PureMO today, but instead we're going back to core foundation of successful trading. And that's understanding market structure, spotting cycles, and executing on momentum. We're rolling the full arsenal of tools except PureMO, and that means we're using CYMO Pro for structural clarity and cycle recognition. We're using PureMO right here, which is to identify trend conviction and momentum follow through. And we're also using ScalpMO down here to pinpoint scalping opportunities throughout the day. Okay, now where does it all begin? Well, we're going to start by looking at the last half hour of yesterday's session, as we always do, okay? Which is right here, guys, this little bad boy going up. Now, on this 15-minute chart, structure was already taking form, okay? And if you had CYMO plotted, you saw how both the cycle and momentum lines were aligning perfectly just before the close. Momentum was above zero, cycle was also above zero, and momentum was right here at the cusp of just busting up to the upside right there. I mean, look at this bad boy. Couldn't get better right there, guys, giving us a strong clue of what to expect at today's open. Now, if you're still ignoring the final 30 minutes of the prior session, you're really walking into the market blind, guys, because that's where the DNA of the next morning's session is buried. Okay, so it's really important to have the tools to be able to spot that and be able to get that really well tuned before the market opens. Okay, so from the open to the close today, this is going to be a little bit of a longer session. All right, from the open to the close, we'll walk through several trade setups on this 15-minute chart, and we'll use PureMO to identify the clean momentum moves and show you exactly how to follow through. And if you're looking to scalp, ScalpMO down here delivered several high probability bursts that we'll dissect. Every trade will be broken down with structure, context, and reasoning so that you can step into the market not with fear, but with clarity and confidence, okay? We're not just marking trades, we're walking through the thinking process behind each of them. The full video and chart breakdown will be posted to our Discord and YouTube afterwards for our channel subscribers, okay? So without any further delay, let's go ahead and dive right into this bad boy so we can go ahead and see how everything shook out in today's session. I'm running this back at about 30 times the speed of the market, but I'll be pausing it in the interim so you guys can see how this all played out, okay? So let's go ahead and begin. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bingo. Here we go, guys. First bar of the day right there, and typically if you're looking at market structure, you wanna let that bad boy shake out, which typically closes at the 945 stamp. Now, if you notice, momentum is up, cycle is all the way down.
Order
You've got
filled.
a nice little opportunity right there to potentially take this trade to the upside. Oh, I don't think my markers are up. Let me go ahead and put them so you can see right there. Reason we're taking this trade to the upside, guys, is because you just had ScalpMO right here rise above the threshold. Okay, you've got momentum also rising as well. You've got your momentum line here with CYMO all the way up here. Okay, you couldn't see it because it was flush with the with the red 90% line right there, and you've got cycle making its full rotation to the downside there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hang on to that bad boy. Now, there's a couple of ways you can actually approach this. You can look at this from a scalper's perspective. What we're going to do is we're going to run it using CYMO to kind of capture the ebb and flow of where the cycle movements actually began and ended. We're also going to look at it from the lens of, hey, what if I'm just tracking the pure momentum swing in price? We're also going to look at this from a scalper's perspective, okay? If you were a scalper, this is exactly where you would have gotten out of this particular move, right there. The moment that this purple line came down below the zero line, this is where you would have scalped that to exit your trade. Okay, now there's a lot of little scalps throughout the course of the session. I'm probably going to just mark them here on the chart as to where the trades began and entered, and I'm just going to let the whole trade run as I mark where CYMO began its cycles and where PureMO gave us the final exit to the trade towards the end of the day. Okay, so if we're in trend mode right here, guys, and you can tell that you're in trend mode because the dynamic VWAP also turned green. It went from being orange to being green. And if you notice here at the upper left quadrant of the chart, it also says trending, okay? So if that's the case, if this is the beginning of the trend right here, or if you just want to move this a little bit more just to have that clarity to see the yellow line rise above the red line, you can as well. If that's the case, let's start counting our cycles, okay? This would be the beginning of cycle number 1. This would be the ending of cycle number 1 right there. So if we're still in trend mode, this is the beginning of cycle number 2. And if you're at the beginning of cycle number 2, we're going to follow this all the way through and through, okay? If you're looking to scalp, this would be the entrance to the second rotation of the scalp right there. The moment it crossed above the zero line, you've got your price line right here, still in the gray zone, but that still counts as a valid setup in ScalpMO to go long right there, okay? The momentum swing, however, is not yet over. Look at this, okay? And the momentum swing won't be over until this purple line hits the zero line or crosses below zero. And I'm going to go over a couple of really unique points that I don't think I've shared with you guys in the past that I think are important, that can maybe help you fine-tune your entries when using a 15-minute chart with these tools. Wow, look at the purple line. Hit the zero line and bounced. Really nice. And this looks like it's the end of cycle number 2 right there. And you still have good pull to the upside right here with the acceleration line being above zero. And momentum is still elevated as well. When you see this type of structure, guys, this is telling you that the market is strong. Not only that, but look here on your dynamic VWAP, okay? Price is still moving to the upside with no clue that it's going to come down below the VWAP either. And that's important. Okay, this is where you would have taken the trade-off as a scalper right there, which would have been at this bar. And if you're only watching the pure momentum swing in price, and price is in trend mode, then you're looking at PureMO right here, okay? And you're looking to see where it actually hits the zero line or crosses below the zero line to get out of this trade. You're not really looking at the crossings in PureMO of the purple line and the yellow line because the market is trending right now. You would look at these crossings if the market was cycling like this, okay? But the market isn't cycling, the market is trending to the upside. And you can clearly see it by the VWAP turning green, and it's also printed on the left quadrant of the chart, letting you know that the market is trending. And this would be the second, this would actually be your third entry to the trade if you were scalping this right there. Moment the purple line crosses above zero, so long as the blue line, the cyan line, is above zero as well. If you can't see how I'm making money off of this, then you need to really get closer to the screen. And it looks like we've got a third rotation right here with CYMO as well, momentum being above the zero line, and we've got a third rotation. Remember that the third rotation is typically known as your blow off top. So we've had cycle 1, we've had cycle 2, and here it looks like we have the beginning of cycle number 3. Typically the end of cycle number 3 is your blow off top. Yeah, I left the thresholds out of PureMO just to have it look a little bit cleaner on my chart. Otherwise you got thresholds here, so I just wanted to have a nice clean view. So yeah, I did that intentionally, but you can add thresholds if you like. This would be the exit if you were a scalper using ScalpMO right there. That would be it. And this is still going, guys, right there. Now, there's two ways that you can potentially exit this huge rip in price. You can exit it at the end of cycle number 3 or whenever PureMO hits the 0 line. It's basically trader's choice at that moment right there. And here we go. Cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3, right there just crossed the 0 line. I can see a tiny, tiny little cross right there. I will go ahead and get out at the next bar as soon as it actually crosses below that and be done with the trade. Oh, it actually pivoted up, so it wasn't a full crossing. It was right there at the 0 line. So we just take that off. And if you wanted to capture another little clip to the upside, you would have been able to capture that there and exit there with ScalpMO. Really precise entries and exits with ScalpMO on the 15-minute chart. But I'm going to show you guys something else that's pretty cool too right now, as soon as I'm done with the demo. And that's it. You can clearly see the crossing, and that would be your exit signal right there to get out. This is the crossing. It almost looked like the crossing there, but this is the crossing right there. We had cycle number 1, cycle number 2, and cycle number 3, which was a little bit of a longer cycle right there, which is known as your blow off top. Okay, guys? Now, where is momentum finally going to come down and hit the 0 line right there? Let's go ahead and watch that for a sec, because that's important, and then I'll kind of go over a few pointers that I think are important for you guys. And notice here on the VWAP, how this whole time that it's just been ripping, guys, it's just been going up, and the VWAP has maintained itself green. Okay, and here's where PureMO actually hit the 0 line right there. So this would have been, this is the full momentum swing in price right there. From here all the way over here to this bar, guys, the moment it hit the 0 line, that is it, okay? There is nothing left in the trade. It's time to just clip your profits and go do something else. And you've also got momentum coming down right there as well. And you've got your dynamic VWAP also changed to orange, and you've got price that actually just stepped inside the orange VWAP right there. So that is really it, guys. There is nothing left in this trade to the upside. You pretty much juiced the orange as much as you could. And I'm going to go ahead and stop that there just for a sec, okay? Kind of give you guys a little bit of perspective right here and answer some questions. Does PureMO have a threshold area? No, it doesn't. I left that out intentionally because I wanted to have a cleaner setup here on the 15-minute chart. If you notice, my dynamic VWAP doesn't have an 80-bar VWAP or a 15-bar VWAP. I just wanted a nice, clean, easy setup without too many lines for this demonstration today, because you already have reference lines here in CYMO and ScalpMO, so I just felt that putting more reference lines here was just going to be overkill. So yeah, I left them out, but you can have the thresholds if you like on a 15-minute chart there. So couple of things that are important that I want to share with you guys that I think will give you some really good perspective. Remember that ScalpMO is designed to capture short bursts in price action. So instead of like using ScalpMO, which you can on a 2-minute time frame to kind of snip little short bursts in price action, just think of it this way. If you plot ScalpMO on a higher time frame, and if ScalpMO is measuring the acceleration in price, you try to capture the short burst in price action. Imagine if you did this, guys, okay? You're sitting down at your desk right here, okay? And all of a sudden, you have to also remember, with ScalpMO, you want to always trade in the direction of the price line. And the price line, the wave line, is denoted by the cyan line right here, all right? So keeping that in mind, okay? So in other words, if this is coming down, as long as it's above the 0 line, even though it's in this gray box, you're not going to take short trades. So this acceleration line going down is not a short trade. This is not a short trade. As long as price is above the 0 line, which is this center line, you're not going to take a trade in the opposite direction. So that being said, okay, just making sure you guys are on the same page I am, okay? If this is designed to track the short burst in price action, what if you plotted this on a 15-minute chart, and the moment it crosses above the 0 line, or it's right here about to burst above the 0 line, you decided that you were going to go and turn over to your lower time frame chart, like your 2-minute chart, and spot where PureMO was actually turning at this particular point in time, ready to go up to the upside, do you think that would give you a higher probability trade that the trade is really going to move in the direction that you hope? Because if you're only focused on the 2-minute chart, great. But this is where market structure comes in, guys. If the whole ship is turning in one direction and it's ready to sail ahead, like right here, okay? And for instance, if you've got CYMO already just about to cross another cyclic rotation with momentum all the way up right there, what type of probability do you think this trade would be? It would probably be a very high probability setup, guys, okay? You've got momentum above zero, you've got your cyclic rotation about to begin, and you've got your burst in price that just crossed above the zero line right here. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to trade right off the 15-minute chart, but what it does mean is that, hot dog, man, if this bad boy, look at your crosshairs, okay? This is like your crosshairs on a scope, okay? And if you're right here and this bad boy's about to burst, because it's designed to capture the short burst in price. If it's about to burst right here, guys, to the upside, as long as this cyan line is above zero, why wouldn't you go up to your 2-minute chart and look at PureMO to see exactly where it's at, where the predictor is to capture that burst in price to the upside? Wouldn't that give you way more confirmation than just looking at one chart? Just something to think about, all right? Because the same thing played out here, right at the open. It played out here where I've got the green arrow and price went up. It played out here again, and it played out here again. Every one of these, guys, was a burst to the upside today. And you could have caught a lot of those trades if you would have spotted them first on a 15-minute chart, kind of forming, you know, with big market structure. And you can, you know, if you say, well, I don't like a 15-minute chart because it just kind of moves too slow. Well, at least, you know, try to get some value from it by understanding what market structure is doing. And then, you know, adjust your sights on a 2-minute chart to ensure that you're taking the trade right when it matters. Use PureMO. You know, use CYMO on the 2-minute chart. And I bet you if you do that, guys, your win rate's going to increase exponentially right there, okay? Remember, there are different ways to approach market data. This is just one way that you can do it using a 15-minute chart, okay? Higher time frame, okay? Today just happened to lend itself to some really good trades because the market was completely trending to the upside. In fact, if you notice, if you go on the Discord bot, the briefing channel, you know, the market said that it was going to trade to the upside with high conviction. Well, this is exactly what it's talking about right here, guys, on the 15-minute chart. It traded to the upside with very high conviction all day. Look at this. All right, all day long. You know, it just went right above it and took off. Now, you can also put the VWAP here and see when the market is cycling right there. Look at that. Perfect. You know, you can see other instances where the market trends to the upside. You can see other instances here where the market cycles. And look at how well it captures these cycles. It goes up, hits the top of the VWAP. There ain't no more room to run, guys. It kind of, you know, consolidates for a little bit right there and comes right back down. Hits the bottom of the VWAP, goes right back up, okay? Perfectly respects this 20-bar VWAP that we have on the 15-minute chart. This gives you a lot of ammunition, guys, to understand what's going on in the market. For example, take this example from a couple days ago. Price goes up, hits the top of the VWAP right there. I'll just put a little arrow right there. Okay, hits the top of the VWAP. And your cycle is right there, about to cycle down. Not only that, but your ScalpMO is right there as well. It actually just crossed like one bar prior to this bar right there telling you, hey, you know what? Maybe it's time to get out. Would you take a long? Or would it cause you to pause and think before taking a long? And that's exactly what the system is designed to do, guys. It's designed to help you see exactly what market structure is doing so you can go back to your 2-minute chart and execute with confidence, okay? Now you can kind of shrink this down to a 5-minute chart, repeat the same process there if you like, no worries. If it works for you, awesome. I keep a 15-minute chart right in one of my screens just to keep an eye on this exactly what I'm showing you right here. Okay, this is exactly my setup on a 15-minute chart right here. And on days when the market rips like this and goes up, you watch indicators like PureMO, goes up, 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 all the way until it touches the zero line. You're done. There's nothing else. And that's a huge win to the upside. But as a prudent trader that you are, and I've taught you this before, you have to remember the cycle rotations, okay? And don't forget that. That is the core of our system, guys. Understanding what phase of the cycle you're in. Because as soon as you see that the market takes off to the upside and it's here, okay? And you also saw the day before in the last half hour of the session that cycle was rising, momentum was rising. Look at the last couple of bars before the market closed yesterday, momentum was already above the threshold. A clear indication that the market was going to rip roar to the upside at the open. And as soon as you saw momentum rise and you saw the first cycle fall right here, beginning of cycle 1, end of cycle 1, you knew you were in a trend. You can follow your trend tool, which is PureMO right here all the way to the end. Now you can execute your trades on the 2-minute chart, following your trend chart, and get in and get out where the signals tell you where to get in and where to get out. Okay, but if you're looking at big picture and you're wondering, well, is there going to be a reversal to the downside or what's going to happen? You look at this to prepare yourself. And if you really want to get nitty gritty and really fine tune your approach to sniping the market, if you're a scalper, here you go, right here. I just gave you a really good idea. Whenever ScalpMO hits that zero line right there, okay, as long as momentum is above the zero line, as long as this blue line is above zero as well, okay, and if cycle's going up, that is a long. You go back to your 2-minute chart and you start looking for opportunities to execute that trade. Now, for our current subscribers, here's your challenge. Recreate the session. Use the 15-minute chart. Plot your CYMO, your PureMO, your ScalpMO indicators. Try to spot the time and trades I took without cheating, all right? Mark your entries and exits, take the screenshots, post them on Discord. This is how you sharpen your skills. This is how you build your edge. Now, to those fence sitters out there, this is your wake-up call, guys. If you're still sitting on the sidelines, if you're still relying on lagging indicators, outdated strategies, or gut feelings, it's time to update your toolkit. You're missing out on trades of this caliber because you're trading without precision. Don't let another week pass you by. And let me tell you what you get in the 7-day free trial, guys. You get access to the entire suite of indicators. That's CYMO, PureMO, ScalpMO, and yes, PredictMO, and the dynamic VWAP up here as well. You get entry to our private Discord for setups, discussion, and support. You get 2 free one-on-one coaching sessions to get you dialed in as quickly as possible so you're not left there guessing with these tools. You get access to the playbacks and walkthroughs just like this one, and a chance to finally build a system that works. No gimmicks, no guesswork, just tools that deliver. So I'll stop it there for just a quick second. I'll take any Q&A you guys might have concerning this chart and what I was looking at and exactly why I took the trades.